Hello, my name is Katrina Murphy, and this is my Humanities 330 research project on artificial womb ethics. Again, my name is Katrina Murphy, and I have decided to do my research project for Humanities 330 on the ethics of artificial wombs. In recent years, a Philadelphia team of scientists and fetal surgeons have worked to develop artificial wombs, or AWs, to help conquer the limits of neonatal intensive care units. The AWs work by mimicking the uterine environment and continuing the gestation process for premature neonates. This advancement could eventually be used for the entire gestation process, or ex utero gestation, also ectogenesis. This gives rise to the ethical issue of the use of this technology for women physically incapable of bearing children. And that's what this research presentation is going to be about. Now let's take a look at an argument for the use of this technology for the entire gestation process for women that are incapable of physically bearing children. An article by Greg Bognar for the Journal of Ethics, Policy, and the Environment points out that though overpopulation is an issue, procreative liberty and personal autonomy are basic rights. According to Dr. Julia Cavalier of Lancaster University Medical School, women facing the biological constraint of infertility would be able to have genetically related children as opposed to adoption. She also states the use of ectogenesis would eliminate health risks associated with pregnancy and childbirth, as well as allowing those physically incapable of bearing children to use this technology could eventually lead to increased equality for all women. Women would be free of the physical burdens associated with pregnancy and childbirth, such as reduced career advancement and financial losses due to childbirth and maternity leave. Now let's take a look at the argument against the use of this technology for women that are incapable of bearing children. Arguments against the use of this technology for the entire gestation process include the issue of overpopulation, the great number of children needing to be adopted, and the underlying purpose of the development of this technology. According to Professor Kingma and Professor Finn of the University of Southampton's Faculty of Humanities, scientists involved in this development consider this technology an improvement on neonatal care through ectogestation, which is different from ectogenesis, or the complete technological process of artificial gestation. They also frown upon the use of the term ectogenesis in relation to their work, and stress that this technology should strictly be used for the improvement of infants in neonatal intensive care units and not to prolong the present limits of viability. Here are the references for my research as well as the images included in the presentation. And again, here are references continued for this presentation and the images. And again, here's another page of the references that I used for my research. Now let's take a look at my opinion on the matter. I believe that the use of artificial wombs for the entire gestation process is unethical and could eventually lead to a slippery slope where pregnancy and childbirth are rare. The use of this technology should be limited to premature infants through regulation. There are too many children in need of adoption, as well as the increasing concern of overpopulation, to allow this use of artificial wombs for the entire gestation process. While I feel for these women, from a utilitarian standpoint, regulating the use of this technology solely for neonatal use would be better for a greater number of people and future generations affected by overpopulation, as well as the growing number of children in need of loving homes. The normative ethical theory of utilitarianism focuses on what is right or wrong when choosing an action or policy in relation to its consequences, and I believe my opinion does just that. To conclude, as this technology continues to push the scope of its intended purpose ethically, policymakers should consider the impacts a slippery slope like this could have. Using artificial wombs to conquer the limits of neonatal intensive care units versus for women incapable of physically bearing children is ethical. Opening this technology up for use beyond its intended purpose is wrong and could lead to negative consequences for the majority. Discussion questions that I have come up with include: would it be unethical to use this technology to produce industrialized livestock or for endangered species? If other countries allow women incapable of bearing children to use this technology, should regulation prevent our citizens from traveling outside of the U.S. to use this technology? And lastly, should regulations prevent scientists from using this technology for the gestation process of human blastocysts generated from non-embryonic cells? Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope that you enjoyed it.